Tonight on The ReidOut.
It is despicable to continue to use America's men and women who are fighting for this country as political pawns for anger you have about separate issues. There is no pork in it. It is a kosher bill. I'd say halal, but I know how that might play on this network.
Jon Stewart tells it like it is to Fox News after Senate Republicans openly celebrated blocking a bill to give veterans critical health care coverage. Also tonight, more missing text messages that could shed important light on the plot to overturn the election. John Wood, who was a senior investigator for the January 6th committee, joins me. Plus, it's not just Disney. Ron DeSantis is stepping up his fight against so-called woke companies, which stands to benefit the companies that help him out politically. But we begin tonight with a Republican Party gone off the rails. What was once the self-described grand old party advocating small government and national security now seems to be actively rallying against the very issues that just 5, 10, 20 years ago were their top priorities. First, you have the majority of Republicans voting yesterday against the bipartisan CHIPS bill that would create high-tech jobs and make the U.S. more competitive against China, who Republicans keep telling us is the big threat to America's future. Republicans also, in the main, are declining to support the Respect for Marriage Act. Okay, Family Values Party. Or the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that would, on top of helping to save the planet from impending climate disaster, reduce prescription drug costs and fight what Republicans keep telling us is the boogeyman, inflation. Make it make sense. Then you have the de facto party leader, Donald Trump, facing major backlash from 9/11 survivors and victims' families for hosting a Saudi-funded golf tournament at his New Jersey golf club. When asked about the criticism, he said, and I quote, "Nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11. Really, Donald? I mean, you are president and you do know who the CIA is, right? At the same time, right-wing Republicans are inviting Hungarian autocrat Viktor Orban of anti-race mixing fame to speak at CPAC next week because America first, right? Wait a minute. Is Republicans' opposition to the Respect for Marriage Act, which would codify interracial as well as same-sex marriage as legal, is that related to their love of Orban? Say it isn't so, Republicans. Well, whatever the source of the affinity, Orban, who, like his American TV sponsor, Tucker Carlson, is big on the whole white replacement theory, he'll be speaking alongside Trump and some 24 Republican lawmakers at CPAC. Should be fun. On top of all that, perhaps the most egregious and unexpected 180 from the Republican Party this week was tanking what's being called the PACT Act. It's a bill that would provide health care to millions of veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits and chemicals during their service. On Wednesday, 41 Senate Republicans blocked the bill's passage, including 25 who had supported it just 1 month ago. Immediately upon doing so, video from the Senate floor shows those very senators celebrating, shaking hands and fist bumping after denying health care to sick veterans. The outrage from several veterans groups was immediate and completely understandable. They included Susan Zier, the mother-in-law of the sergeant the bill is named after, who slammed the hypocrisy of those Republicans outside the Capitol yesterday.
Every single one has pictures with veterans on their Facebook pages, on their websites. Well, screw that. They don't support veterans. If you vote no on this bill, you do not support veterans.
Joining me now is Susan Zier, mother-in-law of Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, an advocate for the PACT Act. Thank you very much for being here, Mrs. Zier, and condolences, of course, of the loss of your beloved son-in-law. But I want to show you this video again. I played it just a second ago, but I want to show it again, and I apologize for having to make you look at it. This is senators celebrating, Ted Cruz among them, high-fiving, celebrating the fact that they blocked this bill that 25 Senate Republicans had previously supported. When you see that, these senators high-fiving, fist bumping, how does that, what does that say to you, and how does that make you feel?
Well, first off, Joy, thank you for having me tonight. That's the first time I've seen that video, and I'm losing my composure right now because I felt that fist pump right in my gut. that was a punch in my gut. And I don't understand how anyone who's sitting on Capitol Hill, working in the Senate or the House, could have the barbaric audacity to celebrating denying VA benefits and disability and survivor benefits to the men and women who willingly went off to war and served our country. It's unconscionable.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your son-in-law and what he went through.
He was an Ohio Army National Guard guardsman. In 2012 and 2013, he was the Ohio Army NCO National Guard Soldier of the Year. And it's a pretty grueling competition and quite an honor. He served in Kosovo at Camp Bondsteel in 2004. In 2006, he was deployed to Iraq. He was in the Baghdad area, Camp Liberty, Camp Victory. He was a combat medic. He saved lives in Iraq, and he was posted for guard duty for Iraqi construction workers, and he at that time had to stand guard, and he was 20 to 30 yards from burn pits all day long for about 3 months. And he came home safe and sound. Everybody's happy you come back from war and you're healthy and safe. 10 years later, he started noticing he was very physically fit, never smoked, very health conscious. He just felt like when he was working out, he didn't recover well. He was tired. He started developing these gushing nosebleeds in late 2016. And it took over a dozen doctors going back and forth. They couldn't diagnose what the problem was. Eventually, it was discovered he had a rare mucous membrane autoimmune disease that strikes 80-year-old women who worked in toxic environments, like a factory with chemicals or something. And they were told they knew no case where a 35-year-old man has this autoimmune disease. But we were optimistic it was treatable, possibly curable. And then about a month later in 2017, in March of 2017, he developed other symptoms not consistent with the autoimmune disease. And it was determined that he had stage 4 lung cancer in a very rare form because he did not have a primary tumor. So, he was given 6 to 8 weeks to live in March. However, they did find a treatment that worked, and an immunotherapy treatment that worked. And they extended his life for 3 years. And he died on May 6th of 2020.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm so sorry. And I mean, the thing is that, your son-in-law did what those members of Congress, for the most part, didn't have the courage to do. It's easy for them to sit back and say no to something that would help families like yours take care of themselves, take care of the children that are left behind by these wars that they decide on. That they, for the most part, don't fight. And so I just want to apologize to you. I didn't, I'm not a Republican senator, but I think that the nation owes you and your family an apology. We should be able to get this done. Jon Stewart is out there fighting. We're with you. We're going to get this done. Susan Zier, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Thank you. God bless. Cheers. All right, let's bring in Rick Wilson. Of course. Let's bring in Rick Wilson, former Republican strategist and co-founder of the Lincoln Project. Rick, there is little that is more repugnant than sending a young man off to war and then refusing to help him or help her when they come home sick because they went to war. I can't imagine anything sicker than that. And I wonder what you think of the high-fiving senators.
I have to tell you, watching the fist bumping and the high fiving at the end, it was nauseating. These people, my old party loved to say, "Oh, we back the blue, we support our troops." We saw how much they backed the blue on 1-6. We saw how much they support our troops in this heinous vote. This is repulsive at every level. Their excuses for it ring completely hollow. They have no reason to do this. They have taken a shot at our troops as effectively as an armed enemy. They want these young men and young women who were exposed to chemicals in the war zones of many different American engagements overseas. They just don't give a damn. And I find myself angry and disappointed and disgusted in equal measures, but there is nothing that these families can do except stand up this November and eliminate this Republican majority, send Mitch McConnell packing, and bring this bill back, because these folks deserve this. And a few months ago, the Senate voted for it, but now they've decided to politicize it. Now they decided to use it as a ping pong ball. And then, especially Susan Collins, who's ever so upset about things, she voted against it because of another bill that made her angry that they brought forward. This is something where these people should never claim the patriotic imprimatur of saying, oh, we're the ones who support the troops, because quite clearly today's vote put the lie to that.